ROCCAT now, and you know there's no bans in the second phase for G2, you should be able to try and get at least one good solo lane matchup for yourself. G2 not able to then ban away certain counter picks if they want to take, let's say, Galio in the top lane. But G2 most likely feeling forced to also ban like a Xayah. They have not practiced a lot coming into this after MSI, so I wouldn't be surprised to see her banned away, but for now she's still open.
And while we can be happy that G2 did not take a vacation before MSI, taking those breaks now may cost them here in the early weeks of the EU LCS regular split.
But it's week one, right? Like losing 1 week, it doesn't really matter if you are a team expected to win almost every other series. Because you obviously just want to peak around playoffs. They actually left Xayah open.
Okay, all right.
Madmen.
Does G2 have to pick Rakan? Will we get to see Xayah and
yes.
Rakan kill each other?
But like Mithy, returning from MSI, has he practiced enough Rakan to pick it? If you don't pick it, ROCCAT will lock it in, and the European teams, they all agree that is the most broken 2v2 lane you can draft right now.
God, I'm so excited. But now we see Lulex getting his hands on a staple jungler as well, maybe hoping to make some early game impact. And I feel like with the Xayah already locked in, we can expect fights around the bot lane just constantly.
To make it even better for ROCCAT, if they get Rakan as well, they've already banned 2 supports. So they're pushing Mithy on like a Lulukama if he doesn't want to play this new champion that was obviously not enabled on the MSI patch, and he didn't take it. Oh, these guys.
Come on. Now, there's no guarantee ROCCAT will pick
Yes,
it.
that's a guarantee. They're going to pick Rakan. But actually, they don't have to do it right now because there's no bans from G2 in the second phase. So G2 can't actually ban it away.
But they get first pick in second phase. Maybe it's a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. They're not going to pick Lulu.
All right, well, we see Pride Soccer taking his time on this selection.
Just give some release. There we go.
There. Hovering over the Warwick, maybe some Rengar, old school Rengar shouts out for the former one trick, but now bringing the Elise here onto the stage.
Okay, so you got AD carry, you got support, top lane. They can wait with that if they want to. They can take Rakan if they don't want to show anything else. We are like 99% surely going to see it, but the question is just when do they pick it, seeing as they don't have to take it this early.
Galio now locked in as well. Pretty strong top laner coming in for Foxy, potentially a mid laner for Betsy. We know he kind of likes to bust out some of those more unconventional picks. And already Fiora banned off the table, one of those things that we have seen have some success into Galio.
Yeah. I mean, Gangplank was a pick G2 introduced at MSI against Galio, but obviously that was expected, not Sendo, who's the man sitting in the top lane for this one series. G2 right now, yeah, gotta remember they don't have anything that can really remove. So now they are showing the Caitlyn that is trying to match AD carry, and then it's on ROCCAT now to ban away any sort of picks they don't want to deal with.
And last season, Yarnan and Wadid were pretty confident that they could win a lot of these 2v2 matchups, and they are definitely going to be tested playing a new AD carry on stage up against one of the most obnoxious bottom lanes to lane against, the Caitlyn Lulu.
And I actually like Caitlyn against Xayah. I think long-range AD carries are pretty good against her to try and get some trade advantage early on. G2 obviously just running down the clock, can't really do anything with it. I also think G2, like if we have to just talk about the first 3, I actually like the fact they match AD carry and they already have the preferred jungle pick and also a support for Mithy, because otherwise you would risk ROCCAT pinching those roles even more. Like imagine 4 support bans and then Xayah and Rakan in favor of ROCCAT. Like that would have been very hard for Mithy to deal with.
Or the AD carry is taken away. Now you have Sven and Mithy, the 2 we can safely say strongest players on this lineup with solid picks in their hands. And if they're looking to make an impact, if they're looking to carry this game, definitely the safest way to set it up. Although to be fair, we don't know what to expect from Blanc, from Lulex, from Sendo. These guys could have solid performances.
Of course, Blanc plays like a lot of different control mages. Like most play these here in Europe, like Azir, Victor, these kind of things. He's played a lot of Ryze as well. Like Orianna is available. She is still a very safe blind pick, especially with Lucian banned away. Would not be surprised to just see Orianna here. But I could also just last pick for him mid and then say, okay, we know it's Galio, or we expect it to be Galio top. Let's lock in our top lane pick against it, being it the Gangplank, being it another tank. And then we have like a pretty decent setup for Blank to get a counter pick.
Solid place to be. See what Sendo wants to stick towards. 5 seconds left. And it will be the Rumble locked in for him. A lot of power down there in the top lane. Maybe not the strongest matchup into Galio, but can still push those waves quite easily.
Yeah, and forces now Betsy to obviously show his mid laner, give Blanc the counter pick. Betsy is a Swain guard. We always have to remember the Swain with him. Has taken it blind as well in the past. Definitely wouldn't be a weird thing for him specifically, but Syndra is available. And Rakan will guaranteed be locked in. There we go.
There's the OTP. All right. I said yesterday that Hans Sama and Ignar would get weird comics drawn about them if they were the first duo lane to play these two champions together. But now it's going to be Shonen and Wadid. I didn't know this was going to come, but this is fancy.
No, I really expected Xayah to be banned over something like Lucian. G2 might just put all the eggs in the Sven basket. You know, we said it before the champ select. If they go Karma, Lulu mid, and then you have your Caitlyn, they do. Okay, this is just late game. Look, Sven will try and carry.
You said it yourself, Fishio. There were games, there were matches where certain members at MSI did not show up, but one man who was a constant was Sven.
Yep.
And now with everyone else on the team gone, just the bot lane remaining, makes sense to kind of build around them. So if you've ever wanted to see if Sven can fight 5 people simultaneously in a team fight, this is definitely the game for you. But on the other hand, ROCCAT, I mean, this is a really strong lineup. We don't know much about what we can expect from Xayah and Rakan because it never makes it through, right? But we know Syndra is strong, we know the Elise is strong, we know the Galio is strong, and if Xayah and Rakan do what players have told us that they do, what we've experienced in solo queue from that terrifying duo, this is going to be a pretty ROCCAT favored draft, it feels like to me.
Yeah, I mean, again, they have Syndra mid, which is considered the S-tier mid laner. They have the best bot lane possible in the current meta. And then you have a safe tank top lane for Foxy as well. So overall, a good draft, but I actually think G2, in their situation, came out okay despite giving Xayah and Rakan over, which is, of course, the big, what if they just pop off and you are completely done?
I don't know. Well, if you have faith in Xayah and Rakan, if you have faith in ROCCAT, hashtag ROCWin at LLO Esports on Twitter. But if you believe in G2, or at least 2/5 of it, hashtag G2win. Perks, Trick, and Expect are not playing, despite what
it was a bait.
Said.
They are not playing, yes.
Blanc, Lulex, and Sendo subbing in. Representatives from the LVP, the Challenger Series, coming in to back up G2 this week.
This is the way some of the football clubs have an impact on the EU LCS. Sending Lulex in from Schalke, Blanc from PSG, and of course Sendo coming from G2 Vodafone, playing in the LVP in Spanish. You just highlighted Dracos, and I'm super excited just because we get Xayah and Rakan in the bottom lane, and not only do we get them, we also get them against the best bot lane in the West. So that's a nice little early test for these two.
All right, game 1, ROCCAT blue side, G2 red, Xayah and Rakan versus Caitlyn and Lulu. It's probably going to be the only thing we talk about, short of some crazy action here in the early game, because it is worth getting excited over.
What about a crazy pause?
Was that what you're going to say? What about a crazy what?
Well, I actually saw it on my other monitor. It was going to be a pause, so I kind of
baited me,
and I was like waiting for the pause to happen. It seems to be on the side of ROCCAT.
If I were Wadid, I'd be surprised I got Xayah and Rakan too.
Yeah, maybe he's like, oh, this character looks weird.
It's just a bug. They ban this every time. There's no way this made it through.
So Xayah, Rakan, obviously when they are picked together, they have a few bonuses. I think the most important one to highlight is when Xayah uses a W, gets the attack speed and the extra damage. Rakan gets it as well. So it's very, very easy to early push and early trade as a group. And that's something we're going to notice early on. But once, as I said in Champ Select, like, Caitlyn is a good pick here because very long-range AD carries can get a lot of auto attacks off on Xayah, where she can't always properly trade back. And there's a Lulu as well. It's support Lulu, Karma mid. Like, the trading power from this bot lane of G2 is very strong.
And realistically, when we look at the way that these two function together, or even individually, a lot of what they do is really telegraphed, right? Battle dance, the ability for Rakan to leap to his allies, very quick, pretty fast animation. But grand entrance, the knock-up, super telegraphed. Caitlyn has the tools to get out of that. And as well, Xayah with the Blade Caller, the ability to pull back to snare enemies. Very similar to Callista with that Rend proc. You know that damage is coming. You can see those feathers on the ground. It's easy if you're someone like Sven, who's very good at positioning, to avoid a lot of that damage.
Now it's important we have the camera on the bottom lane when the minions arrive. Again, Xayah, Yanan here, started with W. So that is, again, the attack speed steroid. That also gives a bit of extra damage on the attacks. Will automatically, of course, proc her passive as well, Xayah's passive, where she will start shooting through multiple minions. So you can already see right there a lot of ways to start pushing that wave early and try and rush to level 2, where then your Rakan can actually start playing very aggressive. You see Ignite as well on Wadid. You can go for early kills if you are playing this lane as soon as you hit level 2.
Something we'll have to keep our eyes out for as we move forward. Now, Wadid.
Did you cut out for a moment there? Or?
I accidentally pushed my mute button because I was going to cough and then also talk at the same time.
It's very rude. Very rude of you, by the way.
To push my own mute button. All right. for now. Just a defensive start coming in for G2, protecting the Lee Sin, getting him the early Raptor camp. Elise happy to solo it out on the opposite side, although Betsy may have given a bit of support with the Dark Sphere. This doesn't matter. Instant down dance and Deadly Plumage. They're all inning at level 1. Sven is going to have to back out here. That is massive for ROCCAT. Maybe a little too excited about these two characters, but that was aggressive.
Sven did not expect that instant all-in right there. He doesn't have any ways of really escaping it other than flashing. And again, that's what you can do when you can combine multiple abilities. Because again, whenever Jan clicks his W, it's actually an ability working on both champions. And so hard to deal with this duo together. And I want to see if all the scrim hype pays off. Right now, we are expecting them to do well. And we are, of course, expecting ROCCAT to do well here in the first game.
And we're waiting on this level 2 here as well. Minion dies, level 2 comes in. Now Hjarnan and Wooddeed not quite aggressive enough to instantly dive into this tower, but they have absolute control of the bottom lane despite the pushing power.
Yeah, fair enough. You don't dive the tower level 2. I like Wooddeed's move here. Early push into ward, into take the blast cone as well, so there's actually really no way for Lulex to properly gank the bottom lane, which means Sven and Mythia stuck down here all alone.
If anyone can beat the terrifying duo, we do expect it to be Sven and Mythia, the two members left standing on the G2 lineup, or at least the original lineup.
And we should note that these guys came home from MSI. They were never the entire team together after MSI. People went on holidays, took some breaks because they didn't do it before MSI. And that's obviously why they haven't really been scrimming that much on the new patch. They haven't really been practicing with these subs a whole lot. As we highlighted earlier, Blank came in last night. So they haven't really gotten to play anything with him. They probably just told him, can you play a supportive champion mid to buff our AD carry? Yes, check, here's Karma.
And it works out for them, but this is, of course, the choice that G2 made. Admittedly, a bit of a risk. Did not expect Perks to be out sick here, but two members were calculated. Lulex and Sendo were going to play this week no matter what, and this is the choice to take a vacation after MSI to give up these early weeks' performance and trade it for an improvement in performance at MSI. Definitely worth it, I think, for the European fan base.
100%.
But it does mean that they are vulnerable.
And it means it's a really good thing for ROCCAT. The fact they get to play this lineup here in the very first week on stage with Pride Stalker should make it a bit easier for them, without saying the game is won straight away, because there is still some good players on the side of G2 you gotta beat.
Once again, the desk predicted still in favor of G2. So much confidence. And I mean, Mythia, of course, known, veteran shot caller, a huge source of leadership. Maybe he can take some of these players that we don't quite know what to expect from and coordinate it into a solid strategic comp, I say, as there's a Caitlyn that everyone is clearly supposed to protect. Feels like it could just come together if they get late enough in the game.
Let's try and follow Pride Stalker. He's on his way towards the bottom lane. There's no flash on the Caitlyn. And obviously there's no blast gun because that was taken by Wadid earlier. And Pride Stalker is a man that in the promo tournament and in the playoffs, the Challenger playoffs, played extremely well. And I think that's why a lot of the LCS teams suddenly started looking at him after he qualified, saying, like, this guy, a lot of talent, very young, straight out of solo queue into now some of these games last split, and suddenly he finds himself in the LCS.
Definitely some impressive numbers. I mean, keep in mind that a lot of his victories during the Challenger Series playoffs to get into that qualifier match were against Lulex himself, so has a history of doing well. But while Pride Stalker is doing well, it's a similar story for Foxy in the top lane, and already Sendo really getting bullied out here. Foxy, a member of ROCCAT we've come to expect more from as we've looked forward, but definitely dominating in this lane.
The Foxy Taxi, the name was born in Spring Split during the win streak of ROCCAT, where he picked Gnar almost every game and dumpstered whoever he was against in the top lane. Not exactly Gnar this time around. Galio, still very good in the laning phase. Great start from him with triple Thorns, pushing in the Rumble 24/7. And yes, we are expecting a lot from Foxy here in this summer split. He's one of the guys who really needs to perform if ROCCAT wants to make playoffs.
Absolutely, a lot of pressure. ROCCAT are coming in with, remember, they haven't lost since the end of last season. Would really like to start on a good note. There's a lot of people skeptical. Without Maxwell on the team, will the leadership be the same? Will the team be able to coordinate as well? For now, solid early game, but have to see more as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the people who's been skeptical, simply because Pride Stalker and the team here, I think it's going to take time before they really click and can match some of the other teams, some of the other top teams in Europe. Now, that's not saying that, you know, by week 4 or 5 they're not going to look very good. But I think it's going to take at least a few weeks before we really get to see what these guys can do. Obviously, this first game kind of gives us a weird feeling because, you know, if they beat G2 2-0, it's a great start.
And
but
It's such a rough spot for ROCCAT, too, you have to respect. Rough spot for both these teams, because ROCCAT win, oh, you won, but it's against a slightly weakened G2.
Right, yeah.
If ROCCAT lose, it's, oh my god, you got spanked by G2 with 3 subs. And G2, they're just happy to find a win, but they definitely are just not happy to be in a situation where Perkz couldn't be on the lineup in week 1.
Yeah, you know, I talked to Betsy before the game. He was like, he's actually super sad that he's not playing against Perkz because he wanted to try and challenge him now after that great MSI performance. And then Perkz is out sick, and he's playing against Blank, who's a guy he probably didn't expect to play against today. And not exactly the same as playing against Perkz in his current form.
And you have to respect it. Perkz putting on an excellent performance at MSI, and if mid laners are looking to improve, that's a guy you'd be happy to 1v1 to practice up your laning prowess. And as now level 6s are starting to come in, ultimates are starting to be available. Grand Entrance goes forward, but just going to battle dance out there for Wadid.
There's another bonus with a very long range for Sven. Like, he can stay far enough back that the range of Wadid's knock-up is not always a threat against him. Like you saw right there, he just stepped backwards very quickly, didn't get hit by the knock-up. His flash is back up right now, so G2's bottom lane here been able to do just fine despite that level 1 where maybe they didn't expect the instant all-in.
And Wadid just continues to go forward every time the Grand Entrance is off cooldown. Hungry for a little bit more, but Mithy.
Got respect now, Jan level 6 as well.
Now the Featherstorm throws out a decent amount of those as well, so you have to be very careful. At the same time, Mithy with flash available should be relatively safe.
Yeah, more people looking to join the party. No, Pridestalker takes the blue. Betsy goes back here. G2's bot lane respecting the fact they could get killed under that tower. Steps back in, but yeah, Xayah ulti I think is the best ability for it, the coolest ability. Simply because, again, you can jump up in the air, you can't really be targeted, you can't die straight away. And then when you spawn those 5 feathers, when you use your E, you pull them back straight away. Extra damage, land the snare. It's a lot of burst up front. That is super, super hard to deal with if she can actually chain some CC with, well, let's say a Rakan.
And that's a terrifying spot to be in if she gets a lead. When she can just leap forward and be aggressive. When she doesn't have to worry about using that cooldown defensively. But feels like if Hjarnan falls behind here, you no longer get the option of using the Featherstorm quite so aggressively because it's your only defensive tool on this character. You don't have the double dashes that Rakan has. You don't have the net that Caitlyn does. And you can put yourself in some risky spots.
Oh, they're looking for bot lane again. Blank is getting pushed in mid over and over, so Betsy's moving first. Haven't been able to sync up and actually kill Sven and Mithy simply because the G2 bottom lane, they're just stepping away from the tower. So they're actually playing it smart, but obviously the tower is taking damage. And Xayah can just perma-push this lane here, just use one ability to proc that passive, and you just keep going, man. Keep going. Oh, they can sync up the recalls as well.
Never sleep. OTP, oh, running forward. Mithy now in trouble. Oh, that's a lot of damage, but he's going to do his best to save himself for now. The quickening not quite enough to take him to safety. Has to dodge the trap. Lulex is there. Not anything else going to come. Oh, flash over the wall.
All right, all right, all right. I think Lulex is respecting the potential danger despite a lot of guys being around. Everyone in here in the audience are kind of waiting for that first kill. They came in expecting a bit of a fiesta, and now they're getting this like slow and steady early game where it's a bit of a farm fest.
We were misled as to the nature of this lane when they all-ined at level 1 Deficio and then did not fight up until that point.
Well, they tried, but they were out of range every time because the man on your screen, Sven, managed to stay out of range with this Caitlyn, and the numbers you see there from MSI, same kind of numbers we can see in this game. Probably the damage percent will go up to like 40% instead.
I mean, there's an entire team comp built around him, so.
Exactly. I mean, to be fair, there's a Rumble who will steal away some percentages, but like still, Sven is the man we're looking at to win this game for G2 if they can get it to late game. So far, it's actually working out pretty well. They're dead even in gold at 10 minutes. And
a pretty decent CS lead for the Caitlyn as well. More than even we saw at the MSI numbers, so already putting on a pretty solid performance for his first game back, despite the time that G2 has not practiced.
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen Pridestalker really do anything on Elise. Like, you pick a snowballing jungler who shines in the early game when it comes to ganks. You have a CC top you can use to gank with. You have CC mid from Syndra. You have CC bot lane. Like, every lane actually allows you to gank it, because they have ways to set up this target right in front of you that you can just cocoon and you can kill them. He's hovering mid, but very defensively, more to just allow Betsy to push out the lane and then roam. This is a good move to go down to the bottom side. We'll get spotted though once again, and nothing really comes from it.
ROCCAT just slow and steady wins the race.
Like, you can literally just dive Rumble with Galio Elise. Like, force his flash from that one, and then you can return gank, or you can start taking tower.
have to wonder, maybe the confidence just not quite there for ROCCAT. First games on stage, we saw it yesterday in the first Fnatic game. We saw it in the first H2K game as well. Teams have been telling us that first game on stage is rough. Hard to execute on those big confident plays. You don't quite feel like yourself. So you got used to the settings again. You've gotten used to the pressure maybe of playing in front of a crowd, especially for a young guy like Pride Stalker.
And you're afraid Daniel Dracos will flame you if you make a mistake. Like, that is your brand.
I will.
That is your brand.
I am the guy who flames people.
Exactly.
I didn't know that, but I guess you said it, so it must be true.
I mean, once I said it, it's out there now, so...
They know.
They all know. To be fair, I don't blame Pride Stalker, but I think then his team needs to guide him. Like, the team right in needs to help, like, hey, come, you can go mid now, we can gank, we can do this, you know, come top, we can dive. Like, you can kind of micromanage him. There we get to sing that recalls. I actually like the fact you can just kill the last few minutes and then step together. It's so beautiful. They're gone.
7 seconds saved, ladies and gentlemen.
He was farming while the support was recalled. Ooh.
Look at that time efficiency. You know what that is? That's 7 Cloud Drakes worth of movement speed back to lane. Well, now, Betsy, it's very slow, it's very steady. Betsy's going even. Rumble's falling behind a little bit, and Sven is starting to crush the CS differential. But there's a Blade of the Rune King now finished on Hjarnan. Is this what they need to all in to try to kill this lane one more time?
Well, again, as I said, I think ROCCAT has so many options. Like, there's so many lanes. They go top lane, go bot lane right now. I like the Betsy roams to bot, try and take the tower. Push out the lane, then lane swap to top, take Rift Herald, and use that to break open the mid tower. Suddenly, wide open map, multiple towers down. It's what you can do with the new Rift Herald. If you win the bottom lane, you can use that to take one tower and go up and grab that Rift Herald right after. But it requires them to actually get the tower down. You can see in your minimap, always you have Pride Stalker Betsy hovering towards the bottom side. But they're not been able to execute on tower or dive because G2's bot lane are playing just so safe.
And you can see Sven and Mithy, so much confidence as Sven continuously just steps forward to throw auto attacks out, not worried about Wadid, just gets the movement speed steroid, the shield from Mithy, and starts to poke back and forth. But now Lulex just have to lead back out to safety.
Yeah, and this is the dream for G2. You know, no Rift Herald going down, no early towers dying, no one is actually getting kills. Played a slow game. We know Mithy as a shot caller, even with new players, can guide a team in the late game quite effectively.
True. And especially here in the early game where everyone's to a certain degree on their own. Pretty simple plan for G2. Don't die.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give anything up.
That's why Lulex flashed, you know, earlier. We just instantly be like, nope, not going to take a chance here. I'm just going to flash away from this one straight away. I just know if I don't die. We're just farming. We're going late game. It's all great. It is MSI all over again, except no one is getting early advantages against G2, like we saw at MSI.
Exactly where they want to be. Happy to take some scaling options.
It's right now, though.
Quickening, knocks it up at the grand entrance. Going to maybe battle dance out as the Elise does come in. Mithy taking a lot of damage here in the exchange, but still not going down. TP counteracts it, but not going to be needed.
Get that full combo again, though, where Hjarnan, you know, lands his ulti, then takes all the feathers back and roots Mithy in place. But the Lulu ulti coming in clutch, and a good TP from Blank as well here, just to stop ROCCAT from further stepping forward. And now it's actually G2 looking for a play.
Lulex coming down. Hjarnan very vulnerable. Without the ultimate, going to have a hard time being safe. Nice block coming in from Wadid, though. Good awareness. Lulex flash now available. Maybe going to look to kick it back, with both sides just backing off here.
They're playing it so safe. Lulex didn't even go for ulti. He was like, should I go for this one? Am I overextending against teleport? No, you know what? Get a bit of damage and step away. Just give Sven some more farm. Don't want to risk being the man, making sure this team falls behind. So Lulex, a guy who is famous for his pathing, his early aggression, his Lee Sin, like a lot of things Lulex had managed to succeed on in the past and with. In this game, he's been farming and shown bot lane twice and stepped away.
Now we've come to know him as the god of pathing, self-proclaimed, but
definitely,
appears to be the god of farm.
Some people say the pathing genius. Yes, pathing.
Trick calls him the jungle pathing god.
Yeah, I mean, it has become a known thing in the pro community in Europe.
I think the word you're looking for is it meme there, Martin? Not quite a thing.
I don't know. Is it a meme? Is it a fact? I'm not sure.
Well, right now it's about farm. But maybe there's some particular moment of brilliance we're waiting on here with this Lee Sin. As he is headed to the top lane, maybe looking to shut down the Galio.
It's just hard to kill the Galio at this point. He has so much MR against the Rumble. Pride Stalker, though, joining in with Lulex's style here of just farming, which, again, as we highlighted earlier, is not the most efficient use of an Elise. It's actually rather poor use of Elise. The crowd and the fans at home do believe ROCCAT comes in as not exactly heavy favorites, but slight favorites.
60-40, G2 did garner a lot of fan support after their incredible performance at MSI, but people maybe not quite as confident to vote in their favor with 2 out of 5 of the members that did so.
All right, Prize Dogger, I just want to see you go in and try and gank for a second time. I just want to see you do something with the lease, chain CC, burst someone down. I don't care what it is. I just want to see you do something. We had the one bot lane gank. Let's return.
All right, Martin, follow me on this one. Well, may see an aggressive engage here, but there's flash, there's ult, ignite soon to be up on the side of ROCCAT. Now they're gonna have that ignite before Mithy has that exhaust. Maybe this is the 10-second window where they can go in.
I just feel like, why does Betsy have heal?
Huh?
He's laning against Karma. Like Ghost, Ignite, something.
No.
Anyway.
Apparently a lot of faith in Blanc's kill pressure, or maybe a lot of respect over to Lulex here, opting for a more safe summoner spell.
Yeah, because heal's not going to help him in late game fights when Sven is sitting on 3-4 items. Lulex is even able to get an Ocean Drake here for his team. ROCCAT not having a whole lot of control in this river, and it's turned into a game where everyone is just focused purely on farm. And that is, as we highlighted multiple times, in favor of the team running the Protector Sven comp.
This is the equivalent of 10 of those invites in your Facebook inbox. Come play Farmville.
I'm glad they stopped.
Yeah, me too. Can't turn those off. So many people had to get blocked. Not the case this time around. G2 more than happy to keep playing Farmville. Keep working for it. And you can see Wadid hungry. Constantly looking for the engages. He looks like he's going to find what Ignite does take down. Featherstorm up and available. Flash forward, pull back.
There we go.
The Blade Caller. First blood for the Xayah ROCCAT duo. Now they have to run for their life, though, because there is the equalizer. Now comes the heroic entrance, though. The Foxy Toxy not going to let his bot lane go down.
Doesn't matter. We had a first blood. We had a kill, Drakers. That's all we needed. I'm happy to see it in the bottom lane as well. Yanin and Wadid together. Great engage onto Mithy. They tried so many times, and they didn't manage to kill anyone, but this time they do get a kill, and they won the spot lane tower.
First you don't succeed, try again. And now they're going to continue this forward.
Oh, they actually go for
looking
mid lane
pretty
tower.
Comfortable to just continue this. There's no equalizer to break the tower. Of course, a Soul Flare coming in from the Karna could just kill the wave instantly.
Yeah, but they do actually allow G2 to defend by going for mid tower here. Bot lane obviously was quite open with Mithy being dead. Tower already taking quite some damage as well, but mid tower's low, so let's see the engage once again. Wadid W in, and then he uses a Lancer stun straight on Mithy. Ulti comes after, but Mithy will obviously die from Xayah's ulti when she pulls back the feathers right after. Good burst combo.
Just a little bit late on the polymorph there from Mithy. If he does it just before the Blade Caller comes in, maybe he lives, but cannot get in range to do so. And just well executed in the end on the side of ROCCAT.
Yeah, now again, we are very close to seeing a lot of gold going in favor of ROCCAT. Like top lane tower is low, mid lane tower is low, even bot lane tower is taking some damage. Sadly for ROCCAT, they don't get a Rift Herald. It's gone now, 20 minutes, so they can't use that to break open the first tower, but at this point here, they should be able to break either one of the 3 outer turrets. Like, it doesn't matter which one you pick, it should die.
And if they can break down that bottom lane tower, ROCCAT, not necessarily known for being insanely powerful in lane, right? This is a guy who can roam, who can set up plays anywhere on the map with that insane mobility. So maybe Pride Stalker, Wadid, they can team up and try to generate a bigger lead. Because once again, G2 are just playing versus the clock right now. They just survive till that Caitlyn gets 3 to 4 items, and we see Sven do Sven things.
So it's on ROCCAT. I like your point with ROCCAT roaming. I think his lane ganks are insane. E onto your ally in the lane, then W straight forward. If the target doesn't have a flash, well then you're going to hit the target, knock him up, and you're going to obviously be able to kill him. Foxy top lane could call for assistance and take the tower. Betsy mid lane could call for assistance and take the tower as well. Or you can go bot lane with 4 members. You really have all options right now if you're ROCCAT.
Not looking to do anything too aggressive, too risky. Maybe not a whole ton of faith in these guys that they can out-execute the opposition.
This is fine though, if they commit.
Lulex now moving in. Going to try to steal away this blue buff, make sure Syndra is a little bit disadvantaged here in the early laning phase.
Okay, now they're committing.
Now they're committing.
Hand in hand, Pride Stalker Betsy. The bot lane tower. Just
they got
go.
The CC.
There's no TPs, just go take the tower. There we go.
Wadid. Not going to be able to get anything else, but they will manage to break open the bottom lane tower. Does give the opportunity now for Sendo to push in on the top side, but just can't do anything against the wave clear of that Galio, and that means a decent advantage going over to ROCCAT. Yes, it's about 22 minutes into the game, but that is the first sizable lead we've seen all game.
Took some time, but they did get it down now, and as we highlighted before, the two other turrets, mid and top lane, are very low.
Oh.
Betsy using ulti, and now you can see multiple guys from ROCCAT around this mid lane tower here. Want to just take that one down, like snowball as fast as possible, take all the turrets, start stacking some Drakes if you can, but actually no, there's 2 minutes on Ocean Drake, and you don't want Ocean Drake now. You want it like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, not quite. You want Drake RNG, not in the favor of ROCCAT while they do have the advantage, but they are going to look to break open this mid lane tower. Earlier damage on the Blanc does make it a little bit more difficult for him to approach. That's the second tower for ROCCAT. Kind of just slow and steady here, playing out the game. Kjarnan, he walks away every time just so he can do that. Just so we can make this.
They cancel it.
Blanc, flash to safety, go in, quickening. That's the chain CC now moving forward. Blade Caller not going to connect, however. Out goes the Feather Storm. Without the Blade Caller to back it up, it doesn't mean a whole lot.
I didn't see if the charm actually landed from Wadid before he jumped out. This is one of the combos you can do, as we highlight again. It's so easy for Rakan to just jump that great distance, you know, jump to your ally, then jump towards the enemy. Blanc had no flash after he used it to dodge the cocoon. Problem here for ROCCAT is, by them actually getting interrupted mid, they just lost bot lane tower. More gold going over to Sven, who's already sitting on 2 full completed items. And G2 only down 1k gold.
And really, we can say ROCCAT definitely winning the game right now, but when it comes to scaling, you have to respect G2. Most importantly, you have to respect Sven. He's got Mithy, he's got Blanc to back him up, and we don't have to kid ourselves. Look at Blanc's build. He knows what his job is on this team. He is not 1v1ing anybody. He is just making sure that Sven has the tools to do his job.
Poor Blanc, man. He expected to come in here, show what he had on the LCS stage, show some great moves, some, I don't know, the Blanc. And then he get told by Mithy and Youngbuck, like,
So I've got a different idea.
What about...
what if I told you there's a champion that just pushes the lane and makes Sven better at his job?
Nunu mid.
G2 does love the Nunu.
Yeah, but when you have Lulex and Lee Sin is open, you can't really force him on Nunu.
Very true.
Maybe next game.
But it's important you bring it up, right? Because these are a lot of players who may want to prove themselves a bit more on the LCS stage. Lulex hasn't been in the LCS for a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
Blanc was competing in the Challenger Series. And Sendo as well in the LVP. Maybe wants to prove, you know?
100%. Like, that's the important part is, even though it's 3 subs, it's important for ROCCAT to get off to a great start and kind of show what they've been working on in practice. And it's important for the 3 guys on G2 to prove themselves individually. And I think right now all they've been going even in lane top, they've gone even in lane mid. At least in terms of farm, sure, the mid lane tower went down, but ROCCAT gone for more.
Going in, there's the engage, now getting the chain taunt, backing it up, getting so much damage down. Sven is down, that is the key member now as ROCCAT push forward, maybe looking for a little bit more. Winds of War comes in, taunts available, but no flash coming out from Foxy. Now just a wave to push forward.
Yeah, the reaction time, it's almost impossible against Rakan when he flashes on you right there. Lands the CC, knock up Charm. Once you get hit by a 1, second one will follow and you just go down. Sven had flash ready, but really nothing he can do once the engage happens onto him. So ROCCAT 3 towers now, Drakos.
Pair that Charm with that knock up, the quickness comes out. Flash, grand entrance in. You're charmed, you're knocked up, you're knocked out. All too easy on the side of ROCCAT to just keep executing, and we can see Sven, no QSS yet, no real option available. Maybe if you can cleanse the charm and then flash out, but it's already so difficult to deal with that engage option.
I think you just try and go, do you go Mikhail's maybe? For like a Mithy, he wants Ardent Sensor as well to buff, actually you can go Mikhail's here. Definitely, if you want to add some cleanse. Because if you're a Sven, you need damage, you just need pure damage. Like, you are the man who needs to carry. And you should have enough protection with multiple shields. If there's something that can maybe get you out of chain CC.
This is so rough, right? Because he also feels like he needs a QSS as well. We look at it, every single member of ROCCAT has a way to lock Sven down.
Oh, they're going for him again now. Remember Rakan in these long lanes here, with his mobility.
Deadly Plumage, Pride Stalker moving forward. Leap up, go down, not gonna swap forms and look for the cocoon. And it just feels like G2 are just biding their time. Once again, just waiting. Taking time for the scaling comp to move up, but in the meantime, ROCCAT are just chomping at the bit. They're looking for some action. They just want to force these kills. They want to get these picks and look to get something bigger for themselves.
Yeah, at this point, honestly, you can set up for Baron. Like, push in mid and top, get deep vision to jungle, start the Baron, and just engage over the wall. Like, You have so much CC in your comp. If you land one, you will follow up with like 5 other CCs, taunts, stuns, cocoons, whatever it is. G2 on the way to try and stop this one, but they're reacting.
Moving forward, looking for a little bit more. TP comes out on the back side, but there's no one there on the team really to back them up. Wadid has the ult available, but no flash. Foxy locking up Sven. CC continues to come in. No cleanse effects available yet, but no damage to back up Foxy. Starting now backing out. Is going to step on a trap. But nothing else is going to come from this.
Sven can't really kill Galio at this point. He needs some armor penetration as well, but he needs a lot of things. That's always the problem when you're playing these late game AD carries. ROCCAT though, actually giving G2 quite an advantage here by them just rushing the Baron and not properly clearing out the vision. Because it bought some time for G2 to now regroup and get a bit more gold and get some push in these lanes.
Now both teams just kind of grouping up in the mid lane. Sven going to go to the side, look to pick up a little bit of extra side wave farm to continue to build those items, but the rest, the team just happy to hold ROCCAT in that mid lane. They have enough wave clear with the Lulu, with the Karma, to make sure that ROCCAT really can't push for anything else.
We're just looking for a pick.
Fisher, we're just waiting.
We're just waiting, baby.
CC. And this is the thing about these first games, Deficio. Everybody plays scared. Everybody plays with so much respect. But for G2, I think it's the right choice. Right now, as you said, Sven just doesn't have the damage.
There's one little ward outside the Baron pit. ROCCAT didn't use a sweeper yet to actually kill it, so it's been draining vision for G2 for quite a while. It's going to disappear now. They can definitely go and try and place another one. So ROCCAT is say, screw the Baron. Didn't work for us. Back to pushing, back towards Baron, back to pushing, back towards Baron.
And that's a terrible
I was 100% expecting a series where we would have like 40
kills.
And you would be screaming non-stop.
That's what I was thinking too, but here we are, 2 kills, 28 minutes in, Deficio.
Yeah. Save your voice though. Recharge.
I'm excited.
Get ready for that one late game fight that will decide the game.
I already like screamed at a single kill for Xayah and Rakan like 8 minutes into the game or 10 minutes or whatever.
So you feeling exhausted now?
Yeah, I'm a little. Can you do the shouty part?
I'm not really good at the shouty part.
I'll analyze stuff, I guess. Betsy has the new Banshee's Veil. Fun fact, no longer a tank item. Now gives you AP.
I don't think you need AP or magic resistance here. I think Betsy's playing too defensive with his summoner spells and item choice. Again, it's practically just the rumble damage that's going to hit him at first. It's like your goal as ROCCAT is just to burn through multiple shields.
And realistically, you never have to get that close to the Karma in a lot of these fights.
Yeah.
She has one major burst ability. If she's already on top of you and the snare is going to connect, you're probably dead anyway.
I think you just sit on the Negatron cloak and then not upgrade it into Banshees yet. Just sit on Negatron, like, get a bit more damage. But, okay, it gives 70 AP, so it's not bad in that sense. But it is a very defensive-minded Betsy here in the first game on stage.
And once again, just shows the caution coming in for both sides. That sets the ward up. Hops back out to safety. And it's interesting because ROCCAT, as a team, set expectations pretty high at the end of last season. And I feel like maybe that's what's weighing on them now is because they're going up against a weakened G2. And they beat the good G2. They beat the full 5 members strong, no question marks, best team in Europe, G2. So for them now to struggle against a less than whole roster has to feel pretty rough for a lot of the guys that were there for that victory.
I mean, they are still ahead, you know, they're still in an okay position in this game, but it's also obviously losing the shot caller from before. Obviously also, I said Negatron, I mean, no Magic Mantle before. Still the thing when you gotta get used to the new items.
Let's forget. Old missile build path.
Because Negatron now actually only builds into Wit's End, if I remember correctly, as like an offensive item. Actually, no, it doesn't even build into any offensive items.
Wit's End, and then Abyssal, the new Abyssal mask.
It's just Wit's End, yeah. It's Wit's End, and then Abyssal is a full tank item now. So, Negatron Cloaks, rushing that as mid laner, it is no longer viable, sadly. No Magic Mantle.
Gargoyle Stoneplate. Let me tell you about
You can't rush that one.
Tank Syndrome mid.
Almost seeing it in this game.
Please no.
We're gonna get Gargoyle on Foxy though. The Gargoyle gets the Gargoyle Stoneplate.
You remember, of course,
down it again.
All divisions down. ROCCAT slowly burning this one down. Lulex ready to make a steal, trying to make a name for himself. Wadid gonna leap out to safety. Foxy over the wall. The Baron's still burning down, but ROCCAT don't know what they want to do here. They're backing off.
They can just finish it.
Moving forward for a little bit more. Are going to get it in the end. G2 not a whole lot of options to fight this one out, but Lulex maybe going to be a bit hungry for blood here. In goes the ultimate. G2 slowly chasing. Foxy now in trouble. Will get burned down. That's one back for G2. ROCCAT still take the Baron.
So in the end, still worth it for ROCCAT here, rushing it down. They almost disengaged from it, and I think they realized, oh, we can actually finish it in time. G2 did not react instantly. Lulex was not in there to try and steal it. First Baron for ROCCAT, but they still only have 3 outer turrets down, and Sven is now on another turret here in the mid lane.
Decent spot to be 2. 1.5 attack speed items, bit of armor penetration means he's going to be a little bit better equipped in the fights, but still not the 3-item, 4-item Caitlyn we expect. Just bits and pieces to kind of suit the needs of the team right at this moment.
This is basically MSI all over again. Sven is now slowly but surely getting towards his 4th item. We go like 45 minutes into the game.
And in a lot of these games, it's hard to adjust. We can see Sven now leaping forward.
Oh, he got caught!
Not dead yet, though. That's a lot of CC coming in, but not enough to lock him down and knock him out. Going forward, there's the taunt. They're going to get down Mithy. That's 1 kill coming in for ROCCAT. Things looking pretty good as they start to push up the mid lane. Double daggers, not going to connect.
Woo! Close one, close one. Sven did survive. Sacrifice his support. Someone needs to die when you catch the AD carry. Ended up being Mithy going down, despite having both summoners available as well. But I think he was surprised by Janen's combo right there with the root into the stun of Foxy.
Now the siege is coming in. Foxy pushing on the bottom side while the rest of the team maybe just looking to take this tower, but still a ton of wave clear on the side of G2. Jarnan doing his best to take down the tower. A little bit of CC goes down on the Lulex. He's going to need to run. Spider goes up, but nowhere for her to come down quite yet. Immediately into a trap. Sven's going to try to grab a kill. Flash forward. Lulex does get one back. Now kills are being traded back and forth. Foxy on the front line, though, it puts him in a difficult spot because Sendo doesn't have the resistances to keep himself healthy, but the team's got more than enough shields. Down comes Redemption. Foxy not even worried. Does get the 2-man taunt. G2 walk right into it. That's block going down as well. Out comes the Blade Caller. Mithy, though, still gonna survive. Oh, kill. Damage out of nowhere. Sven now running for his life. Flash forward for Jarnan. He wants his montage moment. He wants his highlight reel, but he's just gonna have to settle for that inhib tower.
Finally, we get some fights here. ROCCAT win in the end. Get inhib as well. A lot of guys going down from G2. Sven did stay alive for basically the entire fight, but now Jarnan on Xayah here. Able to pick up kills. Like, Vintage is completed for him. He's so strong at the moment, and let's see the replay again. They catch Lulex first. Good stun here from both Bitsy and Pride Stalker. And then it's obviously Spider up. Trap comes down. So Sven believes now he can get a kill.
And I feel for Lulex right now. He says, this is the man who beat me in the challenge.
I need to kill him. He didn't kill him. He didn't kill him, to be fair. And at this point, actually looks really good for G2. It's like 4v3. But then you have to respect the damage for both Betsy and Jarnan. Taunted onto Blanc into a full damage combo from Betsy and Jarnan right now. And then, of course, Mithy also stepping in and getting, I believe, rooted.
Yeah, walks right in to the feathers there on the ground. Not at all what Mithy wanted to do.
And I will say, it's so hard in team fights to play against Xayah because you don't really pay attention to these small little feathers on the ground.
Mean, look at the difference. Caitlyn Trap blinks at you. Xayah Feather's just a little purple icon on the ground. It's so difficult
And then you got things like the Syndra Ball is down there. You got a trap as well. You got a dead tower. Like, there's so many things on the ground that you're already looking at. All these little feathers. And she gets so many down in the late game fights because she just keeps proccing her passive and getting multiple feathers on the ground. It's like really annoying to play against. The Q applying 2, ulti applying 5. Like, you can already see now how many small feathers on the ground.
Oh, and he goes, though. That's going to be the combo. Galio now coming into the backside. Oh, that's a wombo! Equalizer comes out, but it's not even going to do a thing because Foxy just going to back off. Decent damage comes in for Sven, but that's the coordination we were waiting for from ROCCAT.
It's like they got a taste of the blood right now. Realizing, okay, we just keep forcing fights, you know. We don't want to let Sven get even further in towards the late game.
I'm kind of skeptical ROCCAT taking it slow, but 1-0-4 the scoreline for Betsy. Tanky build means no deaths yet, but 4-0-4 for Jarnan, 0-1-8 for Wadid. Xayah combo, maybe not end-all be-all in that laning phase, but definitely making huge waves here in these team fights.
That's always the important thing to highlight, you know, when you have these scaling comps. It's not like you can't beat them in the late game, but just the chances of you winning fights just get smaller and smaller and smaller the further you get into the late game. But because ROCCAT just set up such a beautiful wombo combo, of course they can still take down members of G2.
And the thing, too, is, as we look at this again, Xayah does a ton of damage. She's just short range and vulnerable, kind of like a Vayne.
Wadid dives forward, flash W into the combo with, of course, the Galio ulti and everything from Jarnan. What a great setup from them. Hard to react when you don't have a flash ready yourself, because how are you going to get out of that flash W from a ROCCAT?
You get the knockup, you get the charm, you get the Galio knockup after that, and all that time Hjarnan has to just throw feathers in the middle of the fight.
And then you can pull them back, you keep people in place again, and if that's not enough, well, maybe there's a stun from Betsy, maybe a cocoon from Pride Stalker. There's no Mikhails on the side of G2, no QSS either. So they actually have no way of really getting out once the first man is getting hit or got hit.
And Sven not even opting for a rapid fire cannon, a little extra range here. He wants the Phantom Dancer, he wants that damage reduction coming in a lot of these situations. And you can't really say you blame him when you look at Hjarnan, because I was saying earlier, the scaling for Xayah is crazy. It's just that she's short range, she's vulnerable, she doesn't have a whole ton of tools to get in and out of fights, but when she can go in, I mean, there's crit scaling, AD scaling on the blades as well.
And attack speed steroid from the W, which always is important in the late game. It's actually one of the things that Caitlyn suffers from.
Yeah.
So it is hard now also because Sven, he's hitting a full tank Galio, where Hjarnan, he's hitting a mixed damage, mixed tank Lee Sin as the front line of G2. So it's very, very, very hard for Sven to kill Foxy fast enough. With the Gargoyle Stoneplate as well, you just double that HP once you're in the middle of the fight, like effectively like 50% damage reduction coming in straight away. So you gotta kill the Galio twice in that sense. And it's just hard when you're the single damage dealer that your team relies on in a fight like this.
And the most obnoxious champion to play against the Galio. Once he starts that taunt channel, you're not locking him down. If you stand next to him, if he's anywhere near you, he's still gonna taunt your team. You're still going to have to hit him, and once one source of CC comes in from anyone on ROCCAT, it can be followed up by any other member of the team. And now Pride Stalker, he's hunting for it, looking forward. Mithy once again, not going to be in the middle of the fight because it's Blanc who gets caught out. Sven now
Great
backing
save.
out, thank you. Mixed up the karma, but good karma coming in for ROCCAT. They take down the opposition, another Baron up and available for them, and they can just take this one down. There is Luax up and available, but no smite means it's going to be pretty tough for him to take this.
He's bot lane as well, killing the wave. Much better shot calling from ROCCAT the last 5 minutes with how they've been able to force these fights here. Love the vision into Wadid, unnoticed, obviously catching Blanc here in the mid lane, and it's what we expected when you have a team playing with the 5 starters who prepared for a few weeks for this. Yes, okay, some issues with the overall shot calling from ROCCAT because they've replaced Max Lore. But G2, while they rely on the one guy to carry, they don't really have a whole lot when you look at them as a team because they haven't scrimmed together.
Yep, not 5 members who've had a ton of time to practice. And additionally, we can see ROCCAT don't have the same struggles. When they get to play as 5 members, when they get to group up, they make solid decisions in these fights. They can absolutely execute on these combos. Sven, though, taking a bit of poke here, a lot of harass. All eyes have to be on him on the side of G2, and he takes a cocoon. Immediate chain CC. Down comes the damage. Down goes Sven. All too easy for ROCCAT. The blade caller's coming in. Clean cuts left and right as Hjarnan makes his mark on the opposition. That's the triple coming in for Betsy. There's the quickness, but no one's going to get taunted up, and it just does not matter because ROCCAT are in control of this game. Blanc gets a kill back, though, and that could be the saving grace for this G2 lineup.
Well, let's see if they can actually defend here. Foxy's going in.
Justice Punch going to miss. Taunt does go in. Sendo not going to get knocked up either. The CC is missing, and that means Sendo has the freedom to clear out these waves, but it's triple Baron empowered cannon creep to break that first Nexus tower. Additionally, members going down. ROCCAT, no problem to clean it up now because the CC comes back off cooldown. Sendo not so lucky the second time around. It takes a little bit of time, but in 40 minutes, ROCCAT are going to find their first win of the summer season.
Slower game than expected, but at the same time, we can't really blame ROCCAT. First game back on stage with a new jungler. Like, you also, if you're ROCCAT, you just don't want to risk giving anything over to this G2 lineup with 3 subs. You don't want to risk falling behind early game because of some dumb mistakes. So, can't really blame them too much, but there are definitely things they want to look at.
And when we looked at this draft, we said, Sven, man, if this guy makes it to late game, like, ROCCAT are done. What we didn't
say they were done. We said that was G2's win condition.
Right? But what we didn't see until they came together as 5 was how well they could execute this Wombo combo, how well they could use all the aggressive mobility, all the aggressive initiation that Wadid brought to the table on this Rakan to set the Galio up, to set everyone else up to just dish out damage.
I mean, and that's again the important thing about like Xayah and Rakan together is just when you land there, the stun, the knock-up from Rakan, it's so easy for Xayah to get enough feathers down to then further CC the target and just land a ton of burst damage and AoE damage as well. She's hitting multiple targets most of the time in a fight. So a really nice setup from ROCCAT to engage the late game fights. We obviously just want to see things happen earlier. Earlier focus on getting the towers down. Earlier focus on forcing some of these fights here around the Baron. But apart from that, they showed what the comp can do in late game fights, and G2 also showed some inexperience, funny enough, playing against Xayah and Rakan.
Yeah, definitely maybe a pick that they're not used to seeing. Well, ROCCAT are just one win away from taking the series against G2. Let's find out what our analysts think about that game one.
Well, they need to be penalized because Verius thought that G2 is going to 2-0. Plus his picks to watch say that Yasuo is going to be a pick to watch. No pick nor ban. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but Xayah and Rakan were.
Yeah.
2 of my 4 picks to watch have made it at least through today. And let's talk a little bit about why they were my picks to watch. Because the cool thing about this duo is we heard a lot from the pros coming into the first week of LCS that this duo is strong. Right now, the power to all in, the ability to wave clear, the fact that this partnership has so much power during the laning phase is what makes them so strong. And what we wanted to look at is, in particular, how these two individuals tried to play the lane.
And you see it when instantly, level 1, nobody said level 2 yet. This is at the beginning of the laning phase. They go right onto Sven, get the laning advantage for themselves. And G2 do hold themselves through because Caitlyn can do well, but these exchanges are just whittling down the G2 lineup again and again. This is a laning strength that I think if you're not prepared for it, can kill easily.
And we just really wanted to demonstrate the all-in power that this bottom lane has with each other, because the thing about Rakan's ultimate is it becomes very difficult to dodge if you use the animation cancel properly with the flash into the ultimate. We'll have a good example of it here from Wadid. You can see if you flash into WR, there's nothing you can do to get out of that. And Sven himself, he just doesn't have the reaction speeds to be able to dodge it. So it creates a very reliable engage tool that you're always going to have available to you. And it nicely set up for ROCCAT to find a lot of these fights and get these fantastic wombo combos that they got throughout the game.
And that's the difficult thing is there are a couple of combos that you can do, whether it's ult flashing, cancelling, and you're right on top of somebody. You have to try and predict what Rakan is going to do before he actually does it. And that's very difficult when there's so many different options available. And as you said, the crowd control layering, everybody on ROCCAT had some form of hard crowd control to get on top of Sven, that as soon as one hit, Galio comes right into the fight, everybody's locked down by the charm. It's a disgusting composition that ROCCAT ended up getting, and it worked very well at picking out Sven.
And a couple of cool things for any players at home that want to be able to pick up. If you are playing with Rakan, you want to start with the W, because it does give you a lot more pushing power, as the casters are talking about. But also, it was interesting to see that we actually saw QMax to have a little bit more trading power going up against the laning opponent. So I thought that was fascinating. It adds a little bit more to your laning power as well. And the build path was pretty fascinating from Xayah as well.
Yeah, we saw the Blade of the Ruin King coming out. There have been other builds. Hans Sammers talked about Essence Reaver for a little bit late game damage. Wasn't lacking late game damage in this game at all. So very fun to see Xayah and Rakan. We talked about how we weren't expecting to see both of them.
Yeah.
Turns out without bans on the second
Definitely.
phase.
And I mean, that's absolutely also the right path from ROCCAT to take, because I know we've been joking a bit about, you know, the G2 is not their super strong lineup and all the legacy of ROCCAT beating G2 as the only team. But for them, this is super serious. They have to pick the most broken compositions that they can and do everything towards getting that win if we look towards how the rest of the summer is going to evolve.
And I feel like this game, they played fantastic too. It was slow. There were definitely rooms for improvement. A lot of question marks around Pride Stalker, how proactive you're going to be. But what we wanted to take a look at was how they played around this Baron in particular. Now, you can see that Wadid moved up very aggressively to try and get some deep vision down. And one of the slight criticisms is there's not full vision control. Right now, they have a lot of vision in the center and the entrance to the pit, but they don't have full control over the back of the pit, which results in Wadid almost losing his life. But fortunately, because ROCCAT have a Galio, they can zone away the rest of G2, and they can just tunnel themselves down onto this Baron. So a couple of individuals enabling this play to work out, but against the proper G2 lineup, perhaps this play wouldn't have gone as they would have liked.
Yeah, and I think against the full strength G2 lineup, I think this would have gone very differently, because ROCCAT, it seemed like they needed to realize that G2 weren't doing anything on the map themselves before ROCCAT said, oh, okay, we can just land one piece of crowd control, go aggressive and win, because they could have done it maybe 10 minutes earlier. I know that's a heavy criticism. You're playing up against G2. You've got to take any opportunity. So I respect the fact that they did play it out a little slower, but I think this game we may see a little bit more in the early game coming out of ROCCAT, because I think they're learning that G2 just aren't a unit with these 3 substitutes as you'd expect.
The point that we want to make, though, is the fact that this is still good for ROCCAT, right?
Sure.
The fact is, there are clearly things that they want to try and work on, but they still execute a lot of things very confidently, and I think they found a composition that works for them very nicely.
Yeah, they did. We're going to take a look at the final fight just as ROCCAT managed to close it out, as they were miles and miles ahead, of course, and they had an easy time to close it out as they did with this fight starting in a while.
Yeah, another fight where you get instantly onto Sven, and of course with only a limited amount to keep him safe. From there, it's this crowd control chaining. Deficio talked a lot about keeping track of the feathers in amongst the fights. It's so difficult that as soon as you misstep, you get taken down. And from there, just again, you push forward onto another objective, and ROCCAT can advance that lead into 2 inhibitors in the bottom lane. And realistically, G2, their only hope was kind of one last-ditch attempt from Sven cleaning up, but against the Galio, that's not happening on 4 items even as Caitlyn.
And the big thing about that replay that I want to emphasize is that while Pridestalker might not have been super proactive in the early game, mechanically, he's still really good. He landed cocoon after cocoon onto Sven in particular, enabling Wadid to make a lot of these great plays. He did it top lane, he did it in that fight there, and he did it right just before they ended the game. So massive props to this guy coming into his first day and really making a big impact on that at least.
Yeah, I'm happy we got to see some of the champions we thought would be banned out a lot. Is there anything about the combo that ROCCAT, is there anything that surprised you that was like, oh, I didn't know that's actually a good idea for a combo? That's something we might see. Of course, the Galio in combination with the Xayah and Rakan is something that seems pretty obvious. Is there anything else that you guys were like, whoa, maybe?
I think that what I always find fascinating is the new ways in which Galio can be used in a bunch of different compositions, because you think like, oh, he's mainly a peeler kind of guy, but then he can be a fantastic initiation tool. And when we saw that massive wombo combo in the bottom lane where you had Rakan ulti into Syndra stun into Galio ulti, like in my head, that wouldn't be considered a wombo combo.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm too old school and my wombo combo is an Amumu ulti, right? But these new wombo combos that can just obliterate lineups, I think is really fun to watch.
Trying to steal terms from other games.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think that the Caitlyn Lulu worked very well out at G2. I don't think we're going to see the same success out of every bot lane facing off against Xayah Rakan. I think it should be a lot more punishing, but Sven and Mithy with 2 strong champions still look good in the laning.
Yeah, we'll see what the teams decide to go for in the next game. We'll be taking a short break while we run away from the Rift Herald. She's scary. But fear not, we'll be back in lane for game 2 between ROCCAT and G2.